Hey, I'm Chris Cooper. This is Business is Good, and this is part 3 of starting a single person business. Today, we're going to build collectors for our leads. This will give us a batch of people that we can market to. In part 1 of this series, we identified the problem that we're solving for people that our business exists to solve. And then in part 2, we defined your first product, which is your minimum viable offer. Now you need a place to send people so that you can track who's interested and start conversations. Because before you can sell anything, you need to collect an audience. That's what today is about. We're going to build what I call collectors, the places where people who have the problem that you solve can find you, can raise their hand, and give you permission to keep talking to them. By the end of this episode, you're going to have a website with an email collector, a Facebook group, and a call to action that has people booking calls with you. And here's the part that would have been impossible even 2 years ago. We're doing all of this with AI. No developers, no marketing agency, no staff, no expensive software subscriptions. So let me show you first what this actually means in dollars for the person who wants to run a single person business. Now, if you were starting a business even a year ago, but definitely 5 years ago, and you wanted to do what we're about to build today, here's what you'd be looking at. First, a web developer would build a simple one-page website with an email collector, which could cost you $2,000 to $10,000. In my experience, it's about $3,500, depending on who you hire. And that's just the build. Anytime you want to change the headline or update the copy or add a section, you're calling the developer, you're paying by the hour. Now, most companies will charge you $350 to $400 a month recurring to build the website, get the emails working, maybe build you like a lead tracker on the back end, stuff you don't actually need at this stage in our program. It's also going to lock you in because long-term, you have to keep paying them to host your website. Email software like Mailchimp or Constant Contact is going to be anywhere from $15 to $150 a month, and the price climbs as your list gets bigger and bigger. Mailchimp's free tier used to work great for me. Now it's limited. And the moment you want basic automation, you're on this paid recurring monthly plan. A marketing consultant to help you set up your Facebook page and write your bio and create your first post, you're looking at $1,000 to $5,000 a month. Even a freelancer is going to charge you $500 to $1,500 to write this stuff for you the first time. So you're looking at anywhere between $3,000 to $15,000 before you've collected a single dollar on your business. Plus, you're looking at $50 to $500, maybe even $5,000 a month in ongoing costs. Here's what we're going to actually spend today. First, we're going to register a domain for your website. This is like the license plate for your car. This is going to cost you about $12 for the year in most places, maybe $20 in Canada. We're going to host either through a Manus host or through another AI host, and we're going to be looking at about $12 for the year. So we're around $30 to $35 for the year so far. Email, we're going to use a service called Resend. It's free for up to 3,000 emails a month, so probably nothing when you're first starting out, and that's because that's more than enough. Your Facebook page and your Facebook group are free. The AI tools to build all of it, if you're already paying for Claude or Manus, then maybe it's going to cost you about $20 a month, but your total startup cost is between $35 and $50 a month, and your total monthly ongoing cost after that might be about $20. That's the real advantage of starting a single person business right now. The tools that used to require a team of specialist humans are available to anybody who is curious enough to learn about how to use AI. And that's why you're here. There's also a deeper benefit beyond the savings. When you build this stuff yourself, even with AI doing all the hard parts for you, you understand how every piece works. You can change your headline at midnight when you have a better idea. You can update your email sequence without submitting a ticket and waiting 3 business days. You own the entire system and you can move at the speed of your own decisions. That's the power of solopreneurship in the AI era. You're not managing contractors, negotiating scopes of work, or waiting on somebody else's timeline. You decide, you write the prompt, and you get to ship. So first things first here, you need a domain name. This is your address on the internet. So keep it simple. Your businessname.com is what you ideally want. If that's taken, try adding a word that describes what you do, or use a .ca if you're Canadian and you're serving a Canadian market. That's also okay. The sample that I'm going to walk you through today is a business that I'm building from scratch called leadyourself.ca. Now, I decided on this business because I was hearing complaints and challenges and struggles from my own clients, from other entrepreneurs about overwhelm and the inability to get things done. And even when they were working with a mentor, sometimes they couldn't act on what the mentor told them and just get stuff done because they were just so buried in stuff. And the skill that these people all needed to develop, they were all entrepreneurs or C-level executives, was self-leadership. They needed to get better at focus. They needed to get better at managing stress, at resilience. And these are all trainable things. And I knew how to train them because I've been in their shoes. So when I did the first exercise in this program, I discovered here's a real thing that's happened to me. I've worked through it and I know how to solve. Then in part two, when I started thinking about my offer, I started thinking about how do I actually solve this problem? And the reality is you can't just solve it with more knowledge. That just adds to the overwhelm. You can't just solve it by adding more work to the plate of the entrepreneur. What you need is like a daily practice, a habit to start building that resilience and building that focus. And so leadyourself.ca does daily journaling prompts to get people into the mindset of thinking about their emotions, watching their thoughts, and taking actual control of their lives by practicing self-leadership. So the first thing that I wanted to do is find a domain that reflected that purpose, self-leadership, leading yourself. And so I went to GoDaddy and I just typed in like self-leadership. Okay. And of course I want the .com. So I'm going to type that first. Here's what comes up when you look at that. What this will also do is give you a sense of what some of these domains might cost. So if I want myselfleadership.com, okay, I might be able to pay $14 a year, but there are also some that cost thousands of dollars a year that you don't really need. Selfleader.ca, I think that's actually a great one. Leadership development, okay. What you want though is a .com, a .ca if you can get it, but you want something that's easy to remember. The shorter the URL, the better, but you don't want confusing words. Remember that most people are going to hear this in a podcast while they're driving, their friend happens to mention it. And so it has to be memorable. If it's just a bunch of random letters and numbers put together, some abbreviation, it won't be memorable. Think about the podcast that you've heard. When somebody has said, yeah, go to xyz.com, and then 30 seconds later, you can't remember the URL or the website. So when I write a new book, I register a new URL for it, right? It's like theleadershipbook.com because I can say that quickly on a podcast. I can say it in a coffee line and people will remember it. So that's what you're after here. Now you're going to have to play around with it a lot because ultimately you're going to want something that's good and your first guess is probably going to be taken. But the first step is just register yourself. Keep it simple, yourbusinessname.com. Don't overthink it. A good domain is short. It's easy to spell. It's easy to say out loud. If you have to spell it for somebody, it's too complicated. I said that we're going to be using two different AIs today to build us a website. One is called Manus and one is called Claude. Either of these will build you a website. Manus will actually register you a website too if you want. You don't have to use GoDaddy. You can also register a website at a bunch of different services. That's up to you, but start by registering your domain URL first. So now we're going to build the site, and this is where AI really earns its keep. I'm going to use the prompt that I've included in the show notes. I actually wrote a prompt that you can copy and paste into Claude or into Manus. Claude is great at writing scripts. Manus behaves more like an agent. So if you're not familiar with using AI and you just want to say, can you build this thing for me in plain English? Manus is probably your better choice. Manus can also register your website for you, and I'll maybe go into depth in that in another video. But either of these AI programs, if you say, tell me how to connect my URL, my website, to this website that you built, they'll just tell you. Don't ever be scared to ask the AI, how do I do this? Or can you make it more clear for me? Or can you give this instructions step by step? Here's the prompt that I'm giving you. You can copy all this and paste it right into Claude or Manus. But let me just walk you through what the prompt asks you for. So first, you're going to put in the name of your business. And you talked about this a little bit in the last episode. Your name should reflect what you do, okay? So your headline here should really speak directly to the problem that your customer has. Not necessarily your business name in giant letters. Nobody cares about your business name yet. Okay. So here we go. You're going to walk you through the setup process to register your domain, which we just did. Then build the page. And what it's going to include here is a headline. So the headline should speak directly to the problem your customer has. It's not your business name. That's not your headline. People just care about the problem they're trying to solve. Your description tells them who this is for and what transformation they'll get. I solve this problem and take you from here to there. This comes straight from the part 2 worksheet that we worked on last time. Your email sign-up form right here is the whole point of this page. This is your collector. When somebody gives you their email address, they're raising their hand and saying, yes, I have this problem and I want to hear from you about how you're going to solve it. Your call to action on the form needs to be specific, not just subscribe. That's meaningless. Nobody presses the subscribe button anymore. Something like get the free guide or join my waitlist or start your 30-day plan. Tell them what they're getting. For email delivery, we're going to be using resend. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through that. It's free for up to 3,000 emails a month, as I said, which is more than enough to start. The AI will work through setting up that account with you. It'll tell you exactly what to do and connect it to your site. Okay. Then we deploy and we can talk about who's going to host this website, where it's going to park. But by the end of this step, you'll have a live website and your own domain with a working email connector. Your total time is going to take about 30 minutes and it's going to cost you maybe about $12 for the domain. So let's do it. Let's actually copy everything here. Okay. And then I'm going to open up Claude and I'm going to open up Manus and just paste this right in there. So what I've done here is just copy this straight into Claude. I'm going to do a little bit of editing here. So my business name is going to be maybe leadyourself.ca, which is, by the way, a real site. Okay, so Lead Yourself is my name. My preferred domain name, I've already bought leadyourself.ca after doing the search that I just showed you. This was the best option that came up. Okay, so leadyourself.ca, type that in. What I sell, okay, I help blank person go from current painful state to desired outcome. So I help founders and CEOs go from unproductive overwhelm to focused and productive. The cool thing about using AI to build this site is that it really costs me nothing. If I hate the site later, nobody gets offended. It's not some work of art. It's built for a purpose and it takes seconds to change it. Okay. So my first product is going to be a journal. And one sentence describing what it is, leadership prompts, which are free for 30 days. If you want to try it, go to the site, leadyourself.ca, and just sign up for it. Self-leadership prompts for 30 days. Okay. A done with you coaching program that eliminates lack of focus and overwhelm. So I'll just continue along here and I'm going to hit publish and I'm going to show you the results. So I've edited the prompt a little bit to fit me, so you don't have to listen to me typing. Then I put, okay, here's my price. It's free for 30 days. It's $9 a month. After that, my first product is a journal, which is self-leadership prompts for 30 days and forever if somebody signs up. I included all of this stuff. This is really the only stuff that I edited. I put, I've registered this on GoDaddy already. Please show me how to connect the URL to this site because I'm not sure. Email set up. I left this as is. And then step 4, deploy and connect. What I'm going to just show you here is delete this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just hit publish here. Okay. And when I used a similar prompt to this in Manus, it built me the selfleadership.ca site. So here's what we've got in Manus. Okay. Now what I can do after I built this site in Manus is I can just open it up if I want to, but Manus does show me a nice preview. And Manus built me a really cool collector. So this is actually the site that Manus built, leadyourself.ca. It built a daily journal where I can go every single day, where people can register. There's a blog that lets me collect people's information if I want to. People can sign up. People can try the daily journal. They can do like a free demo here. But the point is that when somebody signs up to try the daily journal, it is going to collect their information. It's going to let them do a free trial. It's going to get their email address. You don't have to be this in depth. By the way, it built me the pricing page too. Okay. So if I want to start a free trial, I'm already logged in, so it's not going to give me that option. But if you do go to this site, it's going to give you like an option to sign in or an option to subscribe to try the free trial. That's going to collect your email address. Then I can send you future emails. But the point here is that we're building a collector. Now, it would take Claude or Manus a few minutes to build this. It's been almost 4 minutes now. And the cool thing about Claude and Manus both is that they tell you what they're doing. So you're going to do this after you deploy, Chris, but here's the process that you're going to do. Now I'm going to build your landing page. Okay, there you go. Less than 4 minutes later, it's got a landing page. Okay, I can start collecting email addresses. Boom. The next step is it's going to go show me exactly how to do resend. So it gives me a link. Okay, I'm going to open that up. Here I am in resend. All right. And it tells me exactly what to do. It'll tell me what API keys are if I ask it. If I don't know something, I'll be like, tell me step by step how to get this API key. And then there we go. All right. Now, there are some steps here, right? This is going to take you half an hour, not the 10 minutes that I've taken to show you, but it will guide you step by step if you want to. If you're not clear, I don't know what to do, just type that in, send a message, and it will help. Okay. So here we go. You've got a simple landing page. You've done it. You've built yourself a collector. Okay. Now, there's a couple of other things here too. It will say, do you want this HTML? Do you want to just give this to somebody to host? Or do you want to host it yourself? Or do you want to connect it to something else? It's giving you these options and it will guide you through the next steps. I don't need to walk you through it right now. And of course, this site that it's made is pretty basic. Okay. But look, it made you a site. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a work of art. Okay. Now you can say to it, oh, you left a place for my photo. Here is my photo. And it'll automatically add that to the website. Okay. It'll take it from there. So that's the great part about building a website is like, this isn't expensive or complicated anymore. The next thing we want to do is set up collectors on social media. People are going to reach you, hear about you, talk about you, find you in different places. You want the website first because the first place that most people go for help is Google. They want to solve their problem. They'll put the problem in Google. You want Google to be able to point them to you. And that's why you have a website. The same thing can happen on Facebook though, or Instagram, for example. People can be looking for a hashtag about their problem and be guided to you, for example. You want them to find you there, but once they're there, we don't just want them to say, oh, that's interesting and leave. We want a collector so that we can continue the conversation. So we're going to build a Facebook group next. What is the difference between a Facebook group and a page? A Facebook page is like a brochure. That's where you're going to be sharing updates, but it's not a conversation. A Facebook group is a container that lets people join, participate in the conversation, ask questions. A group is where a community happens, right? A page just broadcasts from you to people. A group creates conversation. And for a single person business, conversation is where sales come from because people buy from people they trust. Trust comes from interaction, not from watching you post in the void. So you need to set up a public group, not a private group. You want people to find you when they search on Facebook, and you want the content to be visible to potential members before they join. So this is a public Facebook group that I set up for my gym, Catalyst, which is in Sault Ste. Marie. And so this is just a public group where I make posts. We talk about things. We talk about fitness. Quite often we're talking about what event is coming up this weekend or what ride are people going on. People use this group to coordinate where they're going to meet up to work out. Who wants to go for a run this Saturday? Stuff like that. Of course, my gym's posts all go in here too. And I start lots of conversations through this group. This group is called Gym Owners United. I made it for other gym owners, and we started this during COVID lockdowns. It quickly grew to about 11,000 people, and it's a great place to talk to other gym owners. It is also a collector for Two Brain Business, my mentorship practice and it's enormously successful. But the key here is that before we can market to anybody, before we can sell to anybody, we have to have a conversation. We need to build trust. We need to help first. And you do that through your collectors. That's your email list. That's your website. That is your free Facebook groups. Now, these are all collectors, but collectors are useless without a call to action, the thing that you want people to do. So you need one call to action right now, not 5 different options or whatever. You need one. Every piece of content that you write, every social media post that you're making, it should have a clear call to action. And that should be get on my email list or join this Facebook group, one or the other. Okay. You want to move people from just aware of you for the first time to entering the conversation. That's what the collector is for. Why would you have email? Because you don't own Facebook and you don't control the algorithm. You're not really sure how often your stuff is going to show up in people's feeds. Email is permission to get right into their inbox. They control that. And so you have more control. I still use email marketing. The group could get shut down tomorrow. You never know, but your email list is yours. Nobody can take that away. So you're going to create a call to action in every piece of media you create, whether that's on Instagram, Facebook, your blog later on. And it's going to say, sign up for our email list here. Okay. That's going to go in your Facebook group description. It goes on every post that you make. You want people joining this collector. In the last half hour, we have set up infrastructure that would have cost $5,000 to $15,000 if you did it even 2 years ago or tried to do it today without AI. We've done that for the cost of a domain registration, $35 probably. You now have 3 collectors. You have a website with an email sign up, you have a Facebook group, and you have a Facebook page. You also have a call to action that ties the 3 together. Everywhere you're saying, join my email list. You don't have an audience yet. There's nobody coming into your marketing funnel. That comes next. But you have the infrastructure to catch that audience when it arrives. And you've done all of this without hiring a developer, a designer, a marketing consultant, or signing up for expensive software subscriptions. AI built the site for you. You set up the group, and Resend will handle your email for free. This is why single person businesses are viable in a way that they've never been before. The barrier to entry isn't money anymore. You don't need investment. You need curiosity and you need a little bit of time. You don't need a team. You need the willingness to learn, to use the tools and do the work. Now that you've got your collectors in place, you can start sending people to them. And so in part 4, we're going to set up your social media accounts and write your very first marketing posts. I'm going to show you a format called the 5-1-30, which is a specific structure for a post that tells people who you help, what problem you solve, and what to do next. We're going to set up your Instagram and Facebook accounts. You're going to connect your LinkedIn profile and publish your first piece of content that actually drives people to the collectors that we built today. I will let you watch me building leadyourself.ca from scratch in the next step too. But before we get there, in part 4, make sure that you've completed everything from today. You've registered a domain, you've connected that to your website and made your website live with an email collector. You set up a Facebook group with a clear call to action and define your call to action and pasted it everywhere. Do this before the next episode, because in part 4, we're going to start driving traffic and you don't want leaks in your funnel. This is Business is Good. I'm Chris Cooper. If this was helpful, share it with somebody who's thinking about starting a business. And your next episode, we start the fun part, the marketing.